Hey, this is Corey from Wolfpack Woodcraft. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 10 medical tools that I think you need to help with your preparedness or self-reliance. And now we all need gauze and band-aids and ointments and alcohol and all the different things. In today's video, I just want to talk about some stuff that I feel people don't talk about usually. I want to bring some things to your attention that I don't think you know even exists or are in the realm of capable of getting. I'm going to leave links in the description box down below. Those Amazon links are good for 7 different countries, so consider checking them out. But again, we've gone over home improvement tools, we've gone over automotive tools, and so these are just some medical tools that I think can help us progress in our self-reliance and aid us in our preparedness. So let's start off with the very first one. Alright, so let's start off with something that I think most people do not own. That's a neck brace. Now, this isn't a neck brace like those white foam ones that you wear when you sprain your neck, or when you have a sore neck, you wear it around to kind of protect it. This is a demobilizer. This is going to demobilize the neck, so if somebody suffers a neck injury, if they fall off the roof, if the kid falls off the trampoline, if something bad happens, this is going to demobilize the neck so you can transport them without causing further injury. And so what makes this one unique is this is the back. So the chin goes inside here. And so you would slip this underneath the back of their neck, slides in, and then it wraps around to the chin area. You strap it down this part, you pull the tabs, and then the neck extends out. This would be way too far for most people. You lock it, and now it's demobilized. They cannot move it. It's not going anywhere. This is not comfortable. You're not going to want to wear this for any length of time. But if it's an emergency situation and somebody has a hurt neck and it might be broken, it might be damaged, severely damaged, and you want to demobilize it, this is what you're going to need to do that. And so having this on hand just ensures that no matter what happens, we are ready for anything. And so this is going to be the first thing. And again, I think that most people don't have this. I don't think everybody needs this. It's just something that I want to bring to your attention because I feel like a lot of people don't even know that these exist. And so my first thing that I want to bring to your attention is a neck brace. Alright, so the second tool that I want to bring to your attention is a Splint. Now, the neck brace is really nice because it's very quick to deploy. It's very easy to use for neck only though. It's only good for a neck brace. My next tool is a Splint. Now a Splint can be used to demobilize or brace or hold together a lot of different things. It can even be used on the neck, but it can be used for arms, and so you can mold it to an arm and then wrap it with gauze or tape and hold it in place. So again, if somebody breaks an arm, if they strain their arm and it hurts to move it, this is going to demobilize whatever it is, whether it's a leg, a finger, you can cut it into a smaller section. Whatever it is, you can use this Splint to demobilize it. Even a neck, you can wrap it around a neck. It's not as quick to deploy as the neck brace. It's not going to be easy to keep still on a neck, but I think you need a neck brace if you're going to be working with a neck, demobilizing a neck. But the Splint works for arms, legs, limbs. This thing works really good, and it's another one of those tools that a lot of people don't talk about, and so I wanted to bring it to your attention. Alright, so the third thing that I want to talk about is braces. Now these are things that people have heard of, these are things that people talk about, but I don't feel like people store them or buy them or keep them on hand. It's not really talked about in preparedness all that often, and so having an arm splint that you can use to hold up a sprained arm or shoulder, having an ankle brace that you can use to hold an ankle in place. If you roll your ankle, sprain your ankle, there's a lot of ankle injuries. Having a way to brace it and keep it from moving too much. A wrist, again, a wrist splint for your wrists. There's a lot of injuries with your arms and ankles, and having a way of supporting them when they can't support their own weight without causing further injury, being able to demobilize them, even just the reminder, having a rolled ankle, you keep walking on it and you get kind of used to the pain, and so then you just start using it and then the pain gets amplified and you just keep re-injuring the same ankle. By putting a brace on it or a splint on it, what it allows you to do is remember that your ankle is hurt. And so when you're at work and you get sidetracked and your mind is somewhere else, that brace on there is like, okay, I got to take it easy, right? I'm wearing that brace because I sprained my ankle. I need to make sure that I'm taking it easy. I need to make sure that I'm not overdoing it. And it brings you back to taking care of that ankle or that wrist or that arm without overdoing it. And so I feel that having these on hand, even if you're not going to wear them at work, just using them around the house or spending a weekend with an ankle brace on can kind of help you with that healing process. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is an otoscope. Now this is just a cheap one. It has a flashlight. You can look through it. I will leave links to some of this stuff in the description box down below. The reason I like this one so much is, one, it's affordable. The other thing is it runs on AAA batteries, which are easy to come by. It doesn't run on those button batteries. It's easy to use. You can look through it and you can see and you can inspect ears, you can inspect the throat, you can inspect different things with it. But the other thing is, on the box it shows the inner ear, and so it shows a normal eardrum, ear infection, perforations, ear tubes. It shows you the differences, and so you can kind of get an idea of what it's supposed to look like and what you're actually looking for. And so I like this little otoscope because it helps identify ear infections. It helps identify strep throat or sore throats, and then the little ends here are replaceable, and so you're not using a contaminated tip on a fresh ear. So after the video I can throw this away and then I can have another one, a clean fresh one, for when I actually need to use it. And so I think an otoscope is a really good tool to have, especially as affordable as these little cheap ones are. Alright, so number 5 is going to be a stethoscope. Now you can spend a lot of money, hundreds of dollars, on a stethoscope. I do not feel you need to buy a $100 stethoscope or anywhere near that. But on the other hand, you can go really cheap, which is what I did when I first started. I think this one was like 10 bucks. I don't suggest going too cheap either. I will link to the one that I have in the description box down below. The advantage of having this one over the cheaper one is, number one, this one hurts my ears when I'm using it. It hurts it's a hard plastic, and so it hurts to use it, where this one's a lot more comfortable. But the second thing is, when you use a stethoscope, there's a little hole on the back, and so you can check for a heartbeat, and if you can't hear really well, you can stick your finger over that hole and you can hear, and it's louder when you cover that hole. My better ones, when I don't cover the hole, it's just as loud as these when I am covering the hole. And so when I actually do cover that hole, I can hear a lot better. I can hear my heartbeat a lot better. I can hear different things much better with this pair, and it's not that much more expensive. Like I said, I will leave links to all this stuff in the description box down below so you can check it out. Those links are good for 7 different countries, so check them out if you haven't already. But spend the money, don't overspend, but don't cheap out either on a good stethoscope, because like I said, this is going to help you do a lot of different things. It's going to help you check heart rate, it's going to help you check lungs, it's going to help you check a lot of different things, blood pressure, which we'll get to in the next one. And so make sure that you're not going too cheap on a stethoscope. Alright, so the next thing that I'm going to recommend, or that I would like to bring to your attention, is a blood pressure cuff. Now there's a lot of people that suffer from high blood pressure. I suffer from low blood pressure. But the advantage of being able to check blood pressure at home, even if you do not suffer from high or low blood pressure, is sometimes people are I don't want to say scared of the doctor, but they get anxiety at the doctor's office, and that anxiety will raise your blood pressure. And so being able to check it in the comfort of your own home when you're relaxed and not anxious about being at the doctor's office, sometimes you'll get completely different readings at home than you will at the doctor's office just because of that anxiety. And so learning how to do it, again, you're going to need a stethoscope. And learning how to do it at home just ensures that there's a lot of advantages of knowing your blood pressure. It can teach you if you're getting sick. It can teach you if you're hurt in any way. There's a lot of things your blood pressure tells you about how you're feeling, how things are working. There's a reason why every single time you go to the hospital or go to see your doctor, they take your blood pressure. It's because it gives them a ton of information. And if you learn how to use this and you learn what that information is, you will have a lot of information on yourself, and you can be able to treat and diagnose yourself to an extent. Sometimes you still need a doctor, sometimes you still need a professional opinion, but it just gives you information that a lot of people can't get because they don't own the tool. All right, so my next item is something that we've all heard of. It's something that does get talked about, but I feel people just don't own one, and that is an eye patch. Now, we've all been working out in the garage, out in the garden, out somewhere, and a stick flies up and hits us in the eye, or something gets in our eye, and it hurts, and the light hurts. And so having an eye patch just allows you to cover it up. Again, it rests the eye because it can't see anything. It's not trying to focus on anything. And so it just kind of gives it a rest, kind of gives it the ability to heal, gives you the ability to get to the doctor so they can remove whatever it is inside of your eye. Just having an eye patch on hand can really be useful. And so again, this is something that a lot of people, like most people, know what it is. A lot of people talk about it, but I feel it's one of those things that people just don't purchase, they don't buy, they don't have on hand. And that's why I wanted to bring it to your attention in this video. Alright, so the next thing I want to bring to your attention is a tourniquet. Now, this is something that you hear about. This is something that a lot of people own, but it is an important tool, and I felt like if I'm going to make this video on first aid tools, I need to include a tourniquet because I think you need to have more than one. Okay, I think you need to have one that you keep rolled up in its package, ready to use, and a second one that you actually practice with, practice using, learn how to operate it. I feel a lot of people own a tourniquet and it stays just like this. It's inside its original packaging and it's just waiting to be used, and you've never opened it up, you've never tested it, you've never tried it. Get a second one. Get another one. Open it up, but make sure it's exactly the same as the one you intend to use. Okay, so don't get a rat's tourniquet and then a recon tourniquet and then a cat tourniquet, and don't stick with the same one. Whatever you plan on using when you need it, get a second one that's identical to it, even the same color, same everything, and practice using it so that when the time comes, you know what you're doing. All right? So yes, people talk about it. Yes, people own it. I like having mine in the package just as much as everybody else. I like having it neat and ready to go just like everybody else. But I also had another one. I ended up throwing it away because it got frayed. So I'm planning on buying another one again just so I have the practice one so that I can remember how to use it. I can remember what the different parts are. I can remember all the different things. And when I forget, I can pull out the one that I use or the one that I practice with, and I can remind myself on how to use this thing. So even though you have one, you should really get another one. All right, so number 9 is going to be a CPR shield. So this is for giving mouth to mouth. It prevents bodily fluids from being transferred. And so I have one that I opened. I've read how to use it. I've practiced with it, and so this is the one that I practice with, even though I like this one a lot. I'm probably going to get another one of these to have. This one is still in its packaging, Okay, so this is the one that if I had to use it on somebody else, I would open this and I would use it. The thing I wish I had another one of these, right? Because this one might be a little bit different and I haven't opened it. I don't know how it's different. I don't know if it's different. I don't know anything about it. This I'm comfortable with, I'm familiar with, I understand it. And so for me, I want to get another one of these. The reason it's taken me so long is because how do you tell them apart? Right? How do I know which one's the practice one and which one isn't? And that's why I like this, because I know that this one is my good one, this one is my practice one. But I think I'm just going to use a Sharpie and just kind of mark this one, so that's my practice one, and then I'm going to get another one identical to this and then not have Sharpie on it, so then I can tell them apart. But having a CPR barrier, learning how to use it, learning how to do CPR, learn how to resuscitate someone, it's an important skill to have, and I think that everybody should own one of these, learn how to use it, learn how important it is, learn when and how to use it, learn when and how to use CPR. It's an important skill that I think everyone should have. All right, so for number 10, I kind of put two things together because, well, I'll tell you why. First one is trauma shears. Again, a lot of people have heard of trauma shears. A lot of people are familiar with them, but I don't feel a lot of people own them. That is the big difference here, is people know about them, they understand them, but they don't own a pair themselves, or they have just a normal pair of scissors that they plan on using. The thing with trauma shears is they're not sharp on the tip, and so you can put it against skin and you can rub it against skin and it's not going to hurt anything, right? It's like a child-proof shears that you give to kindergartners, except this is extremely sharp. It's extremely powerful. It can cut through clothes. It can cut through a lot of different things. It's just safer to use these than a standard pair of scissors, and so I do think that you need trauma shears, not just the scissors, but an actual set of trauma shears. People might disagree with me, but I do think that they're important. And then the next thing I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on as well, which is why I lumped these together, and that's a surgical kit. I will link to one of these in the description box down below. I don't know if it's going to be identical to this one, but having a field surgical kit, this is a military style. It's not a military surplus, it's just the style that they used at one point. And just, I don't plan on ever performing surgery with this kit. It's not sterile, it's not whatever, but being familiar with the different tools, being familiar with everything that's in here, just kind of helps you come to a realization of what you really need, what it would really take if somebody was cut open and you needed to pull out shrapnel or glass or pull something out and then stitch it up. What does that even look like? A lot of people don't know what they would do, and so having a kit like this just to learn from, just to kind of understand what the different pieces and components are, and understanding why you would use each of these tools for different things. It's just kind of a visual representation of something that you can hold and feel and understand as you're reading about it or as you're watching YouTube videos about it. Being able to have your own set to reference from, just it helps you learn a lot better. It helps me learn a lot better having a kit that I can see and feel and practice with. Again, people are going to probably disagree with me on both of these. They're going to say a normal scissors is good enough. They're going to say that the trauma shears, you're never really going to actually use it unless you're an EMT or somebody in the medical field. So I don't know. And again, surgery, you're not going to perform surgery. You're going to need a surgeon. You're going to have to rely on somebody else for something that severe as surgery. But again, it's just a way of learning. It's a way of understanding what's happening. It's a way of understanding what you need, what it takes, what is going on. And it just kind of puts your mind at ease knowing that you have these things. So in a worst case scenario, you're not without. And in a best case scenario, you can at least get something going so that you can get them to the hospital safer. You can get them to the emergency room in a state where they're not half dead or dying, or and there's nothing horrible happening. You were able to remove the glass, remove the strap metal so that it was more comfortable to get them to the ER. There's just a lot of different things that you can do with these tools. And by understanding what they are and how to use them and the importance of each one individually, it really gives you an understanding of when I go to the hospital and they tell me I need a splint, I understand how they came to that decision. I understand the severity of what's happening. I understand what's going on, right? I'm not just going in there blind and saying, there's something wrong with me. And then they tell me, do this, and I just blindly do it with no concern or whatever. I have a general idea. I have a general understanding. I can understand when the doctor is speaking to me, I can mostly understand what he's communicating. I can mostly understand why he's doing what he's doing. And I think that that's just a really good place to be. It's a really good part of self-reliance, is just understanding things that are outside of our realm, right? Being able to understand things that most people don't understand. It helps us when we go to the hospital. We understand that when we see the doctor, they're going to take our blood pressure, and we know what those numbers mean, right? They're going to check our heartbeat, and we understand why they're doing that. We understand, and so when they start communicating, we can communicate back in an intelligent way, and we can find a diagnosis faster because we are on the same page instead of them just guessing and then finding out what the consequences of their guess was and then guessing again and then finding the consequences. We can have an intelligent conversation back and forth, and we might be able to get to the root of the problem on the first visit. So with that being said, leave any knowledge or questions in that comment section down below. Is there any medical tools that I left out that I should have mentioned? Is there any medical tools that you own that help you put your mind at ease knowing that you have them? Leave them in that comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I can't wait to see you on my next video.